Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
This is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest today. We have Christine Tieri. And Christine is the president and certified brand strategist at Idea Agency Biz. And we were just talking, I had read the article in the Worcester Business Journal, and I wish I had saved it. But I liked her approach to getting more, how people get more business. Welcome, Christine. Tell us about what Idea Agency Biz is.
Sure. So it's actually our website is ideaagency.biz, but the name is Idea Agency, and we are a brand development and marketing firm, and we like to say high performance marketing because it's all about getting results and driving results. So our philosophy is really about the 1-2 punch of brand development that's going to last a long term, and high performance marketing that's going to drive the results that our clients are looking for.
There's so many. The word branding. How many years has that been now? Now it's kind of a catchword. It's like going forward. I'm getting a little up to here with it. Not because it's a brand or something cool and new, but I hope they can come out with something. Well, they probably will in a couple of years. You watch. You watch. It's the lingo. I think a lot of people that are maybe just starting out might be a little bit put off, and I try to tell them, no. It's just a way of getting your word out there, right? Do entrepreneurs come to you at all?
Yeah, actually, I do a lot of personal brand workshops, and a lot of times entrepreneurs are part of my audience.
Mm-hmm. Where did you get into this? You're very young. How long have you been doing this?
She's so nice.
You do.
I've been doing it 30 years next year.
You're kidding.
No, and I've had my business for 23 years. So I started out in New York City, in the advertising mecca of the United States, and worked at a number of agencies there on, large national clients that I'm sure you've heard of, Sony and BASF and the World Gold Council, some liquor brands like Sambuca and Amaretto. But it was a great time in a great place to cut your teeth. So when I was about 27, I moved back to Central Mass, where I started my own agency, and it was
in Sturbridge.
Actually, it was in Charlton at the time.
Oh, that's even closer to me.
But really, we lived.
It is Charlton. Yep, right down from Auburn.
Right. Yeah. So really, we lived in Worcester for our first 10 years. I started a small design shop in out of my house in Charlton, and quickly grew. And I added a partner who was actually a friend of mine from the third grade, who had ended up in New York City around the same time, and we always wanted to sort of do our own agency, and she was sort of the traditional strategic side, and I was sort of the traditional creative side, and we came together, and for about 15 years we had grown our agency in the Worcester market, and have really become known as creative strategists and strategic creative developers. So making sure that business and creativity come together. My good friend moved on. She is now a professor and working on her doctorate, so she's out of the business altogether, but I kept on with the business and moved the agency to Sturbridge at one point, just because you can be anywhere these days. And for me, I've raised my son in Sturbridge, where I actually grew up. So it was kind of like
so close. I was in Wilbraham. She was in Sturbridge.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was kind of like coming home.
How old is your son now?
He is going to be 20, and he's
That's okay, mine's 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's far away. He's at Georgia Tech in Atlanta as
What's
a sophomore.
He majoring in?
He's actually majoring in business. And
he took right after you.
He did. Well, hopefully. He is focusing on through the lens of technology, because, it's a big tech school, but he loves business, and he's a people person and has great ideas, and I think that it's a great fit for him.
Now, when you were in high school, did you have any clue that this would be what you were doing?
Well, it's funny because I always laugh. In high school, we had one art class, and we took it. If you wanted to take more than one art class, you just took the same one like 3 times.
Yeah, it wasn't a biggie. I don't know why, but I would love to.
No, and I didn't even know people had jobs in advertising. Actually, the first kind of clue I had into brand, and you will laugh, I was in the 5th grade, and I was drawing, there was the Kellogg's Stick Up for Breakfast contest.
Yeah.
And I drew Snap, Crackle, and Pop, and I worked really hard on it. And I sent it in, and I won a Sears Free Spirit bike with a red, white, and blue banana seat with the handlebars.
Full size?
Yeah, well, it was a kid's bike.
A girl's bike?
Girls, they gave one to a girl and a boy, and I got the girl's bike.
Oh, how old were you?
I was in the 5th grade.
You must have been amazed.
And it was the first time, where a brand kind of came with a promotion that I noticed.
Yeah.
Nowadays, kids are much more savvy. They're concerned about what brand they wear on their feet and what jeans they have, but we didn't really think of that sort of thing back when we were kids.
I could have cared less what the brand was. No.
Right.
Yeah.
It is more important now, but that was my first inkling, but I didn't know really going to a small high school what kind of jobs were available in the communications industry.
Sure.
So I went to school hoping to be an interior designer, and
I can see this following a path.
it's all about the design, but I ended up working on we were supposed to lay out a restaurant, and part of the job was to, in a school project, and a part of the job was to put together the menu and the signage and the logo, and I found myself spending way more time on the brand of the restaurant than actually on the layout and how many seats there were and where the kitchen was going to be.
You like the artistic logo part.
That's right, and it's not just logos, but it's what the brand stands for, what the experience is, So if you think of a restaurant that gives an experience, where you walk in and it's not just about the logo, but how you're treated, you're greeted at the door, what the wait staff is wearing, that's all, to me, all part of brand.
Oh yeah, the gatekeepers can do a lot in a company or a restaurant.
Yes.
Even on the phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even a doctor's office, that receptionist can turn you off so fast, or you can really like them.
You're absolutely right, because it's the internal culture that brings that brand to life every day.
Exactly. If someone comes to you, right, have they already established their company and they just want to get the word out better? Is that usually it?
Yeah, clients come to us in sort of 2 or 3 different ways. Sometimes they have a brand, it's a solid brand that they've been working on, or that they're in pretty good shape with, and they really just need to up their marketing. A lot of people kind of get confused between brand and marketing. They use either, they interchangeably and as a blanket statement. But for us, if somebody's got a really solid brand, and we'll just check it and make sure it's okay, and that, a brand is a differentiator. It's what makes you stand out, in your marketplace. So as long as that messaging is in place, we're going to keep on with that and then put together a strategic marketing program to get the word out. And that's where we look at, what the audience is looking for, what the problem the client can solve, and then where we're going to put those strategies. So,
For people who don't, a lot of people are struggling with, let's just say there's the people out there who don't know, what does brand actually mean? Does it mean the name of your company, your logo? What is it?
Well, I love, this is a great entry, because I always say a brand isn't a logo, a jingle, a tagline, a web, it's not the gecko from Geico, it's not your mascot.
I like that gecko.
Or Flo from Progressive, right?
Oh no, I don't like her. I like that gecko.
So
my husband wants to squish it. He hates it.
Well, we like to say it's your claim of distinction with proof of performance. So really, it's that stake in the ground that you are willing to say who you are and what you do. And it's that it's something that needs to separate you from, what I say is that you need to be defendable in the marketplace. You can't, none of your competitors can claim it
That's what
better than you.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
It has to be deliverable by your employees. They have to be able to deliver that brand experience, like you were saying, at your dentist or doctor's office. And it has to be desirable by the audience, because if it's not something they want or need, they have no reason to engage.
It's got to have a
with you.
uniqueness to it, so that, as you said, the competitor can't even come close.
Right. Right. And it's funny, we do a lot of work with financial institutions, banks, credit unions, that sort of thing. And they all say they're unique. Like, if you ask them what separates them from the bank next door, they all say they're people. Now, if they're all saying they're people, so what I try to do, if, for instance, we don't end up in a different direction after we talk, the people really need to have something completely different in order for them to stand out. What is it that they do? What certification do they have? What is it that makes your people, better and different than the bank right next door?
Maybe even if you just offer chocolate pudding. I mean, that keeps it simple, but I get what you mean. Just that little thing that's different.
But I like to tie it into what their their mission and their business is all about.
Yeah, we want to fill your stomachs, and we want you to fill our bag.
That could be a good
You enjoy it. You really enjoy it. I can tell.
I do. That is my passion. The brand work is my passion. The marketing has totally changed over time since I got into the business. Yeah. 30 years ago, we had a handful of outlets. You had, TV, radio. You had print advertising in magazines, flyers, and outdoor billboards that you drove by, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
And what we did was we broadcast our message, and people listened to us. Of course, we only had 3 channels back then.
Yeah, I remember WHYN and that's still there. I mean, in Springfield.
Yes, it is.
I used to listen to the rock songs back then. Yeah, WHYN.
Right, yep. Right. So that's what we had. We didn't have the choices we have today, the thousands
Too many
of
choices.
outlets.
It's just mind-boggling.
It is. And think of it, the iPhone's only 10 years old. So prior to that, we were doing, now so much of our budgets go to mobile advertising, digital advertising. That wasn't even a thought on our radar way back when. So the whole entire marketing world has changed, advertising and marketing. And we are, customers can turn, any audience can turn you on and off like never before. They just click their phone off. They just fast forward.
Yeah. And they get bored really easy.
Do.
They just, this is it. This is
That's right. So how do marketers
corral that?
Yeah, and put their message into somebody's, and that's the issue. You can't force your message on somebody. Now you have to encourage engagement, get somebody to like you, trust you, build a relationship. It's completely different than it was.
What do you do, Christine, when let's say a business comes to you, and you can tell that, good Lord, they don't really know how to market their brand? How do you tell them gently, like, hey, you need my help? Well, obviously they're coming to you because they're confused, right?
That could be, yes. Well, it's funny. We have a couple of different audits that we run. We have a brand RX
audit.
It's
a good audit.
It's an audit of your brand. We will go in there and we'll take a look at all your marketing materials. We'll take a look at your brand. We'll interview your employees and ask what the brand stands for and see how many different answers we can get.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
A lot of times, so we'll perform this and we give a very detailed report. We'll also do competitive research, see what your competitors are saying.
I love it.
And that often puts out a plan for people to hone in on the certain areas that need help. We have a very similar product it's called a Web RX, and it's really focused just kind of on your website and auditing that and making sure it's got your brand message and also all the technical aspects and that sort of thing. But that's kind of a first step if people don't know what it is they need. Yeah. We often work with larger companies like banks and colleges and healthcare that might have a marketing department and have an understanding of what they need to do. Yeah. For those people, we are really like in their corner. We are their extension of their marketing department.
Really, their advocate.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we work with them on their strategic plans and then helping them execute their strategic plans.
Christine, how can people reach you?
So I'm on Twitter at Chris Tieri, ChrisTieri. Also on Facebook, but that's a little bit more behind the scenes.
Do they look for Idea Agency Biz or ID Agency?
It's Idea Agency is the name of the company, and then .biz is the website. So you can definitely get us there as well. We are also on Facebook, Twitter. LinkedIn is also a great place to
you like LinkedIn?
You know what? It's like for me, it's like a big fat Rolodex.
Oh. Yeah, but it's too much. I get so many, and I'm like, who is this? and the problem I have is they'll invite you on it, and I don't know. I guess I'm not techie savvy, but I'm like trying to figure out how do I find out about this person, and I don't know what thing to press. All I want is to know about the person, and then I give up and I delete.
I think you just click on their name and their profile should pop up. So try that next time.
All right, I'll try that because I was trying all these things like. They've got you coming and going. If you want to send the person a message, they start charging.
You have different levels of
I'm not doing that.
Involvement. Yeah.
You invited me. I'm not going to pay to talk to you. And Facebook, I don't know about you. I'm just not crazy about it. People throw everything out there, but the kitchen sink.
Oh yeah, it's a little.
Childish.
It's funny. And our clients ask us, should we be on Facebook? And it's funny because what they don't realize is they're not a financial institution, for instance, they're not competing with other financial institutions on Facebook. You're competing with your college roommate, your friend, your cousin that you haven't seen in 10 years. Those people are who you're competing for your attention with. So it's very difficult, and I'm not saying not to do it, but it has to be very strategic how we recommend clients go on Facebook. And here's a good rule. If you're a marketer on Facebook, it's got to be 80% helpful information, connections, contacts, things like that. And then, another 10% maybe information. It's got to be 10% downloads.
Yeah,
10% promotion.
I don't care about the last time your family went to the beach. I really don't care about seeing those pictures. If somebody connects me on a business level, we'll eventually get to know each other, maybe.
Right.
And then we'll talk about the beach then.
Yeah.
I want to see why are you connecting with me? Was it just because somebody, why?
Yeah.
That's all I want to know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, one of the banks we work with and help with the social community is they are a community bank, so they're always celebrating somebody in the community. So that's not them selling their services. It's celebrating a person who did something amazing, an unsung hero. It's celebrating another business who's out in the in the community doing something. And people really engage with that. And what their takeaway is that this bank is supporting the community and the people that I know. And that is what's helpful, not the loan rate, not, hey, you can get a car loan
It's that
here.
personal touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you ever suggest to them, what are you doing for fundraising for something in your community? That type of thing?
Yeah, well, that's another thing, and especially with a more local market versus a national client. How can you get involved with sponsorship of something? And you often see with the financial things, the big old check, they drag out the big old check. Somebody's got to find a more innovative way to do that.
You see it in the in the back of the newspapers, and then Worcester Business Journal, and I love the journal. And then you see these people, they'll list the different places and the big old check, that they've, which is great. When I see the amounts, I'm like, yes. But I don't know, what else would you suggest? How are they going to get the word out if they don't have that big old fake check there?
I don't know. Maybe they should do a debit card or something on the maybe they should do a mobile phone deposit. I'm gonna actually use that as an idea, because honestly, who writes a check anymore?
You know what? I've avoided that. My parents, actually, I don't know about you, but when I went to college, they goofed. They gave me a checkbook. I don't remember if I had a ceiling or not, but it was for books. Yeah. Well, I went into the college bookstore, and I saw they had the sweatshirts, they had all this, and then I'm like, pretty soon, and I couldn't keep the check. I didn't know how to balance it. I'm like, there we go. I got that. Finally, they caught on, let's take the checkbook away. Not everybody is geared for it.
Yeah.
I like to do cash or a money order. It's
go.
easy.
Yeah.
I know where I stand. They sound a little old-fashioned, but I've never been into a checkbook. And as you say, a lot of people don't anymore.
It's all online. The kids these days are all, in fact, my son needed some money. He was doing something, and I said I would help him pay for it. So he said, Joel, just Venmo it to me. I'm like, what?
Do what? What's it called?
Venmo. It's an app. This was last year. That was my introduction to Venmo. Now it's extremely popular.
You send money this way?
You do. It's through text or email or
How
phone.
Can you possibly do that?
I'm not really sure
It's
how
not like
the
wired
magic
money.
works, but this is how kids so if Oscar, my son, owes his buddy $5,
Or Wally, my son, yeah.
they just boom, and they don't have to exchange it. They don't have to forget that somebody owes them, because they can do it right there.
But how do they get it off of the site? How do they get it in their hands?
It's tied to your bank account.
It's deposited into your bank.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, kids are not afraid to exchange money. They do all kinds of. They live on their phones, and the businesses are slow to catch up on this.
But do you like that? I mean, I don't like getting I do not have my bank account information online. I will not do my banking online.
Well, this whole thing with Equifax will scare the crap out of you now.
I don't even. This goes sound odd, but I'd rather shop in person anywhere. But I will not go on Amazon to give them any information.
Oh, really?
No. I will do it in person.
I'm all digital, sorry.
Oh no! I want to get in that store. I want to feel it. I want to touch it. I want the fun of the hunt. You're just doing it like.
Oh yeah, no. I'm at Zappos, Amazon, you name it.
But how do you know if it's going to fit? That's the whole thing.
Oh, they send it back for free. They make it so easy. I just did grocery shopping online. Well, first of all, yeah, I just got a big package. It was non-perishables.
Peapod?
Well, I've done that. I used to do that all the time. I'd be sitting at a basketball game, and there'd be intermission, and I'd do my grocery shopping, and the next day I would get home, and it would be there. I mean, the convenience is really incredible.
But you don't like going in the store and seeing
Oh,
the
no.
Oh, my God.
I've got better things to do.
I can imagine missing out on it. I know when I broke my ankle, I wanted to get out there, so I remember you know those little gizmos you ride in the store?
Oh, yeah.
The little, that it just doesn't go fast enough. Oh, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Even a thrift shop, I was going to be there in a
Really?
wheelchair.
Oh, funny.
Oh, yeah. All right, so basically, so if the person, let's say their company, they know they can do better, and they've seen your advertisement for Idea Agency, Idea Agency. How long did you say it's been going on, your company?
23 years.
23 years. Where do you advertise the most so they can tell where you are?
Oh, this is almost like a trick question, because where does the advertiser advertise the most, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for up
Besides being one with me.
up until recently, we did very little promotion, because a lot of it was word of mouth. You know, one client would tell another client, somebody would move on from one job to another and take us with them.
Yeah.
We very rarely did any sort of outreach. Lately, though, how there people, and also we networked, just because there was more things to do. But now, again, with everybody on their phones, and nobody's going to conferences as much as they used to. There's no ad club in Worcester like there used to be. So we're not out in the community meeting people as often as we used to. So how do you get that connection? LinkedIn is a big deal for business. So from like a CEO to CEO, we can find each other there. I belong to a few networks. I'm on the board of the Chamber of Commerce in Worcester, and a couple of other boards. But for advertising purposes, we write a lot of content. Mm-hmm. So I have a blog post. I do a lot of interviews, and people find us that way because we're putting out helpful content. So it's not really selling anymore, it's helping.
Yeah.
And that is the new wave of marketing. And we have to practice what we preach. So by providing helpful content to marketers, hopefully and you saw me in the Business Journal, hopefully they'll read that and say, you know what, that's resonating with me, that's hitting a chord, and I'm going to call this person because she has something to say that I want to hear. So,
were you the one who thought up Idea Agency?
Well, yeah, it's funny because for years our name was Smith & Jones, and that
that's a big difference.
That was because of my business partner and I, were two sort of halves of the agency, and Smith & Jones was the most sort of common names out there. So a lot of people in this area knew us as Smith & Jones. So it was really 2 years ago that I rebranded myself, and we went through our whole process as we would with a client. It's called our Purple process, and we understood our persona. We uncovered who we were, what was in our DNA. We revealed our brand position, that stake in the ground. We built out a platform so that we would have visuals and messaging that resonated. We launched our new brand, and we enculturated it into our business, so that if you meet with any of my employees, they will tell you exactly what we do, exactly who we are. They are part of a really tightly knit team, and they really live and breathe our Purple brand day in and day out.
Your Purple brand. Yeah, I like that. We're talking with Christine Tieri, and she's a president and certified brand strategist of her company, Idea Agency. Again, Christine, how can they reach you? And also, is there a way that someone could actually pick up a phone and call you?
Oh, yeah. The old phone. Well,
yeah, their cell phone,
The office number is 508-347-7793. You can reach me on LinkedIn. Just put /Chris Tieri, one word, CHRISTIERI. Or for Twitter, put the little @ in front of that. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, but more at a personal level. And I am out and about in the community.
Christine, for people who aren't savvy with all this stuff, I know about Instagram, I've heard about it, but tell us one more. How is it beneficial?
Instagram, from a marketing standpoint?
Yeah.
Sure. So, it's not for every business. And one thing I'd like to say about social media is you can't be everywhere doing a great job all the time. So you have to pick a couple of platforms and decide if it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Pinterest, Twitter. So what type of business do you have? So for instance, we have one of our great clients, Pepper's Catering. It's Pepper's Artful Events, and they're out of Northborough. And they do a great job on Pinterest and Instagram and those social media platforms, because that's where brides are going and people looking to have pretty things at their next event. And that's a great platform for them. I think that Instagram is a very visual, more so than anything else. You can write copy, but it's a very visual thing. So that something for a restaurant is great. Anything, clothing, anything that has a visual to it.
I tell you, I have authors, and I'm a publicist for the authors, and I've helped other people too, getting their word out. So many will tell me that. I'll say, well, what are you doing to get out there? What do you? Well, I'm on Amazon and I'm on the computer. Even when they were looking for a job, it's a whole different thing. I'm there. I said, you know what? I've always found person to person, get out there, give presentations. You can use your computer too, but don't just sit there and rely on just that. Get out there, get yourself scheduled. That's what I do. I get them self-scheduled, and you're going to meet that person. If you only made one client, that one could probably hit 15 more people. You don't know.
Right.
Get off your butt and get away from the computer. You see, that's more like my thing. Get out there and see people. Schmooze. I know a lot of people say, well, I don't like this networking groups. They're too big. Everyone's drunk. It's true. I mean, have you ever talked to somebody? I've been to them, and it's like, you wonder, is this guy going to remember what I told him today? When he gets up tomorrow morning, he wouldn't even know who I was when he looks at my card. So I always tell people, when you get to a networking group, you get all the cards. As soon as you get to your car, sit down, take 5 minutes, put on the back of it, okay, red hair, had a blue tie on, anything, and take each card so that you'll remember, oh yeah, that one. These are like cue cards.
Sure. And let me give you sort of the flip side of that. Take an interesting card. Get an interesting... I have never seen so many boring business cards in my life.
I know.
And one thing we did recently, I just talked to you earlier about the 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
I have, and I didn't bring one with me, but I have a square business card with 2 boxing gloves on it. And just my name and contact information. And if I'm lucky enough to talk to somebody and they ask me what I do, and they might remember that 1-2 punch, I hand them that.
They're gonna know.
That's going to stand out in the pile because I've made that connection. So have a message that connects with who you are, what you do, and have a good-looking business card.
And have it like also fun.
Yes.
It doesn't. It doesn't have to be the standard anymore. I've seen. I would even, if you wanted a circle, if you wanted a triangle, don't laugh. Because you know why? You're getting the attention of this person.
Absolutely.
And maybe it's tying in with what you do.
Yeah,
So, one more time, Christine, how can they reach you at agency?
Sure.
Agency?
It's 508-347-7793 and at Chris Tieri, CHRISTIERI on Twitter or LinkedIn.
Christine, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And now, any plans for the future? Any goals you have coming up? Events? Anything?
Well, actually, I've been invited to speak at, I'm going to be on the panel at the Inbound Conference in Boston coming up. I'm speaking for the Mass Nonprofit.
Hang on. Okay. Hi, motorcycle. All right.
I'm on a panel at the Inbound Conference coming up in just a couple weeks. I'm speaking at the Mass Nonprofit Network event, and I'm actually going to the Iowa Bankers conference out next year.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
I'll bet they'll do it up. Now, do they pay for you to come, or you have to pay your own freight?
No, I am a paid speaker with the National Speakers Association.
Very good. I'm all fair of that. Let them pay you. You're going to have your plane fare and God knows what else. Let them pay you. Thank you so much, Christine.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. We'll see you next time and be my guest.